Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I made this little jobby to hold my fishing line, and I'm going to show you how to save a little money when you're putting new line on your reels. Stick with me. Alright, clearly it'd be just as easy to go to the store, spend 20 bucks instead of taking the time to make something like this, but it's winter, I had to have something to do, and I got stuff laying around. Now, my initial thought was, let's go out to the table saw and I'll show you exactly how I build it. But then I got to thinking about it and the way I do things, between lack of eye protection, ear protection, dust protection, blade protection. I'd probably have OSHA out at my house shortly after putting out this video. So instead, I'm going to tell you what I did. Basically, I just used a 1x4. I found a scrap piece of 1x4 in my barn. The one I had to build this was about between 2 and 3 feet long. All right. And after that, I used leftover pieces of pegboard from some of the projects I've done. Now all I did is I wanted 1.5 inches in between these. So all I did is I went to my table saw, set up my fence, went over 1.5 inches, and just cut a groove about 1/4 inch deep. The thickness of my blade is just about perfect for 1/8 inch pegboard. Now what I ended up doing, the way I did this initially was I took a piece 2.5, 3 feet long, I came in 1.5 inches and did it, then I reversed the piece, did that one. Then I moved the blade over to 3 inches, did it, reversed it, did it, moved it to 4.5, did it, reversed it, did it, and went all the way down. That way, the two outside ends, when I end up putting them together, I know all the marks are going to work out exactly the same. I ended up making this 1 foot long. Gaps are 1.5 inches between each one. That'll hold 8 spools of fishing line. I made it about 6 inches deep. My bottom is just a piece of peg, again, about 6 inches. That gives you plenty of room. Some of those spools are about 4.25, so you got plenty of room. For dividers, I used, again, a piece of pegboard. I think it's like 5 inches, 4.5. Hang on, let's do this right. Nothing like coming in to do a video and not being prepared, right? All right, 5 inches. So I did these 5 inches. I took a file and filed just a little bit on the edge. That lets them slip into the grooves a lot easier. And just put one in every groove. Once I got one side in, then I'd go ahead and put the top on, put her down in. I put my ends on, and I just used this nail gun and just pop some small braids into them to hold them there. Same thing on the bottom. Like I said, hey, you can go to the store, 20 bucks, and you can buy one of these, but I thought, what the heck, I'd go ahead and make something. I need something to do. Now, one other thing, when I set mine in, got a hole drilled in front of each one so the fishing line comes out the hole, so that way you can pull it out without it going everywhere. There's enough room with this. It's got a little slop on the reel, but there's enough room if you got a new one you haven't used yet, it'll fit down in there with no problem. Now the other thing I do, and that is once you start taking off line, how much have you taken off? So in there, I'll take some 3x5 cards, and I happen to know, excuse me, right down in here in this fluorocarbon, it's a 300-yard spool, and I filled one reel, so I've taken 100 yards off. So I take a 3x5, I put 100 yards off, and I stick it down in the slot. My braid, I've filled 2 reels there. I take 75 each time, so this has got 150 off totally. By doing that, I'm always going to know what's on each spool, how much I got left, do I have enough to do another reel. Now, let me put this all together. I told you I'd show you how we're going to save a little money. I've done a video on this before, and it's got quite a few views. It saves you quite a bit of money. So I thought, let's do it again, because I haven't done this for at least a couple years. Got a lot of new subscribers. This way you can see it too. This is the Berkeley line counter. Now I understand normally for the Berkeley line counter, we're going to put that on, and we're going to we want it to go 50, 60 feet deep. That's where the fish are, or whatever, that's fine. But in this case, what we're going to do, turn it around, face it the other direction, and we're going to count how much line we're putting on. So let me get set up. We'll do that next, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, putting on fishing line. I came up with the idea to use this Berkeley line counter a couple of years ago. We all know we got a reel. We said, hey, we want to put 100 yards of line on it. We take our spools, we put on what we think is 100 yards. We're not too sure. And then we always get all these spools. We never know how much line is actually on them, how much have we taken off, this or there. That gave me the idea to do this. Now, the thing I like when I'm buying my braid, as I mentioned before in another video, I'm buying the Bass Pro Shop. I'm doing 300 yards of braid for like 25 bucks. Now that's enough to do 3 reels. Unless you could take some of these old spools that got a little bit of line on them, and if you put about 25 yards of that on, then you'd only need 75 yards of the braid to fill the reel, and you now get 4 reels done instead of 3. So that's what I've done. Now here's a reel from last year. I've taken all the braid off, but I left my 25 yards of backing. All right, so I got 25 yards of whatever it is on there. And then to connect my braid, I use a double uni knot. All right, you can look those up. You know what, down the line, maybe I'll do a video on some of the knots that I use. But for now, if you need to, you can look up a double uni knot and see how it's done. That's how I attach my braid. Let me get up and show you how I do this thing. And basically all I'm going to do, put my line down here on the line counter, put my glasses so I can see what I'm doing, flip the switch, and then basically I'm just going to reel it in. And we're just going to put 75 yards. Anybody know how many feet that is? About 225 feet. All right, well I'm up to 75 right now. The reel stays nice in the spot. You can use your fingers to put a little tension on. And it really doesn't take you very long at all. You'll have your line put on and you'll know exactly how much line you have on their reel. There we go. We're done. That's all it took, guys. I got my 75 yards of braid on. Not only that, I know exactly how much is left on the spool, so I know how many more reels I can do at the same time. Berkeley line counter. I'll put a link down in the description for this. It's a great way to save yourself some money. I know a lot of guys will, well, I'm going to take my line, I'm going to turn it around. Or I'm going to get to, I don't mess with it. It's 25 bucks. I'm doing 4 reels. So what, $6 and change. Am I going to lose the fish of a lifetime over $6 lousy? I know there's a lot of ways we'd want to save money, and I agree with that. You always want to save when you can. But I will put new line on every year. I'm not going to chintz on $6 and take a chance that I'm going to lose the fish of a lifetime. Now, I will say, Bob and I love the high visibility braid, so what I'm going to have to do is come back and put a leader on. I'll probably put about a 6-foot leader. I'm usually using some type of fluorocarbon for that, and I'll put that on. Again, double uni knots, what you're going to need in a situation like that. All right, thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.